As time has gone on, our plants have started to become more genetically similar. This poses a dangerous threat to our world. If one disease were to infect a prominent plant species, the entire population of that species could be wiped out.
We're basically definitely getting burned by the fact that we're seeing a reduction in genetic diversity in our crops. Most of the bananas we eat are almost genetically identical. They're a strain called the Cavendish. And they are being threatened by a fungus called the Panama disease. And in the next 15 or so years, people say that banana is not going to be commercially available anymore because it's being wiped out.
If something like this happened, we would need an organization with a complex seed bank to restore and reintroduce genetically diverse plants. Organizations like this exist. One is even located less than 10 miles away from the Luther College campus.
Well, welcome to Seed Savers. Seed Savers is a nonprofit started in 1975. Our mission is to collect, maintain, and distribute heirloom and historic seeds. They're all in the public domain. That means that they belong to me and you and everyone, that they can't be patented unless someone adds some element to them. At Seed Savers, we have about 33,000 varieties in our seed bank, but we don't just let those varieties stay in our seed bank. We also distribute them to the public. We have about 12,000 members in 50 states and 30 countries who are supported and participate in our we call it participatory conservation. Alice's job is to do germ testing. So kind of the science behind our collection, right around 1,500 varieties a year, just to make sure that the varieties in our collection are viable. The last 5 years we've been growing and maintaining our collection in the laboratory.
So as John said, we document how the varieties grow in the collection. So we look at them in the field, we characterize them, we taste test them, we check for purity issues.
We feel that the more our seeds are being used, grown in backyard gardens, the more likely that they're not going to be lost. So that it'll maintain the diversity we need.
So Seed Savers Exchange has the largest non-governmental seed collection. So our collection is the largest in the country of unpatented seeds that are open source, that can be traded and shared with anyone. There are other seed banks in the country, and actually in the last 5 years especially, local seed banks and local seed libraries are becoming really, really popular, where even public libraries are starting seed libraries as a central holding place for community members to pick up a seed, grow it, save it, bring it back, and to share genetic material.
So we'll pack about 1.5 million seed packets a year. We have about 1,000 varieties of apple trees here, and there's probably about 4,000 varieties in North America. So we have about 20 to 25% of all the varieties in North America here. So our seed vault is maintained at minus 18 Celsius or 0 Fahrenheit. So at that temperature, cold slows down regeneration. So at that temperature, we can expect the varieties that are in our gene bank to be viable 100 years from now. It's pretty well documented that vast amounts of diversity has been lost over time. If you think about it, a seed company for the most part is interested in it's a business, and they're trying to make money. So they're going to add and subtract varieties every year based on their performance in the marketplace. So you've got a lot of seed companies that have their own breeding programs and have created varieties over the years that they no longer even sell themselves because it's fallen out of the commercial demands that perhaps aren't meeting their kind of commercial requirements anymore.
And I think particularly with the fact that a lot of our genetic diversity in crops is owned in a corporate context, the fact that Seed Savers keeps that in the hands of people and individuals and communities, and has made an effort to say we are not going to commodify or own or patent in a way that prevents use is really, really powerful. So for me, I think the overall goal of seed banking and seed saving reflects that movement from the ways that the environment can move from just being a concern of individuals and places and things they love to looking at how we can connect and achieve these broader objectives that make a better world.
These seeds will also adapt to regional conditions. So, this Tiger melon might do well in Iowa, and we might get a variety that looks exactly like that. But you can take that seed, grow it in the Northwest or grow it in the Northeast, save the seed year after year and keep growing it 8, 9, 10 years. This seed is going to be much more adaptive to the Northwest than it is right now to Iowa. So we feel that it's really important to maintain that diversity. We've grown out varieties, we've had droughts here, we've had floods, and we can look at performance as it reacts to those variables. We can look at disease pressure and know what varieties do perform better than others. Last year was, we're in here for the long term. We don't put seeds in our seed bank and not expect them to be viable 100 years from now. So we're hopeful that that's the case, that seed savers will be around, that these varieties will not be lost. The other thing that we can do too is we can share our data with other gene banks in the world. There's about 1,700 gene banks in the world, of which we're one and very unique in what we do. We're not like the USDA in Ames or the USDA in Fort Collins. They focus on very specific types of varieties, and so we're primarily focused on heirlooms and historic varieties. That said, Fort Collins does back up our collection, as does, we have about 2,000 varieties in Svalbard in Norway.
So I'm currently teaching a class called Nordic Environmentalism, and in that course we are looking at the Svalbard Seed Bank, which is, I think, the biggest seed bank in the world. And Seed Savers has a relationship with Svalbard where they do some seed exchange, and has a similar goal as other seed vaults to maintain genetic diversity of a lot of these heritage breeds and crops. So we're looking at, in our class, we're looking at kind of Norway as a country has dedicated a lot of resources to this. So we're looking at kind of the Nordic environmental ethics that underlie this goal of having genetic diversity and preserving that more broadly for the globe.
We are affiliated with Luther College in terms of being a work-study host, and we've had several Luther students who have worked at Seed Savers as part of fulfilling their work-study requirements. We also have an internship program that is posted on our website, and we host 3 paid internships every year. Seed Savers is involved in everything that we all need, food.
Your involvement with this can really make a difference. This issue is going to become more prominent in the near future, and it's important to roll up your sleeves and get working now.